In 1989, a dictator stood on his own balcony and watched his own crowd turn against him live on national television. 5 days later, he was dead, tried, convicted, and executed in under 2 hours. It looked like a revolution, but some historians still aren't sure it was one. Was Romania's uprising a genuine people's revolt, or was it hijacked before it even finished? By December 1989, Romania had lived under Nicolae Ceaușescu for 24 years, one of the most controlling regimes in the Eastern Bloc. Food shortages, constant surveillance, and a personality cult that bordered on the absurd were daily life for ordinary Romanians. The spark came in Timișoara, not Bucharest. On December 16th, authorities tried to evict Laszlo Tokes, a pastor who'd publicly criticized the regime. His congregation surrounded the church to stop it, and within hours, the crowd wasn't just his congregation anymore, it was the whole city. Security forces opened fire, people died in the street, but instead of scattering the protests, the crackdown spread them. First to other cities, then to Bucharest itself. On December 21st, Ceaușescu called a mass rally in the capital, expecting the same scripted applause he'd had for 2 decades. Instead, the crowd turned on him, live, on state television. The broadcast was cut mid-speech, but by then millions had already seen it. Within a day, the army stopped defending him. Ceaușescu and his wife fled by helicopter, were captured hours later hiding in a classroom, and were dead by Christmas Day. By this reading, nothing about it was staged. Real people took real risks, and some of them died, to bring down a regime that had terrorized them for a generation. But look at what happened in the days right after Ceaușescu's fall, and a more uncomfortable question emerges. Within hours of the regime collapsing, a new group announced itself, the National Salvation Front, led by Ion Iliescu, a former high-ranking Communist Party official who'd fallen out of favor with Ceaușescu years earlier. The speed was striking. A structured leadership, a clear spokesperson, and a name for the new government all appeared almost immediately in the middle of what should have been chaos. Then there was the trial itself. Nicolae and Elena Ceaușescu were tried by a military tribunal on Christmas Day, convicted of genocide and undermining the economy, and executed the same day, in under 2 hours, with no real defense and no appeal. A trial that fast doesn't just punish a dictator, it also makes sure he can't talk. Ceaușescu never got the chance to explain in public who else had been involved in keeping his regime running, including people who ended up in the new government. Many of the officials who took power in the National Salvation Front had themselves been part of the communist system for decades. To some historians, that's not a footnote. It's the whole story. A popular uprising that was, within days, redirected by people who had the most to lose from a genuine break with the past. Most historians today don't fully accept either story on its own, because the evidence supports both at the same time. The uprising in Timișoara and the crowd in Bucharest were real. People died for it, with no script and no guarantee it would work. That part isn't seriously disputed. But a revolution creates a vacuum, and vacuums get filled fast by whoever is organized enough to fill them. The National Salvation Front didn't need to plan the uprising to take advantage of it. Former officials who understood how the system worked were simply better positioned than ordinary protesters to step into power once the old structure collapsed. The rushed trial fits both readings too. It could be read as revolutionary justice, a country that had waited 24 years wanting it over fast, or as damage control, making sure the one man who knew where all the bodies were buried, literally and politically, couldn't say so in public. Romania's revolution may be the clearest example in 1989 of a genuine popular uprising and a political takeover happening at the very same time, by different people, for different reasons. So was Romania's revolution genuine, or was it hijacked before it even ended? Historians are still divided, and this video won't settle it either. What's certain is that in 5 days, a 24-year dictatorship collapsed, and what came after was built by people who had lived under it, for better or worse. If you haven't seen the full series, Trial by Fire covers all 5 days in under a minute each. By 1991, communism was gone across Eastern Europe, but one border kept shifting long after the Cold War officially ended. In Ukraine, independence in 1991 was just the beginning. By 2014, that border was being redrawn by force. By 2022, it had become the largest war in Europe since 1945, and a standoff between Russia and NATO that's still unfolding right now. How did a Cold War that supposedly ended in 1991 lead here? That's next.